Hi, this is Kamus. This is my third video for chessvideos.tv, and I'm open to any of your suggestions or comments, criticisms, trying to improve the standard of what I do here. Anyway, today I thought I'd share this game I played in 1991 against Grandmaster Shamkovich. It's an interesting game, not least of all because of the fact that I happened to win this game. Although I'll tell you more about that later. But this was played on the USA Today Chess Network, which was the precursor to the ICC back in those days. And that's the first place that serious players got online and played chess. Perhaps some of you were on there. That was back in the early primordial mists of the Internet. And the curious thing about this game is that I didn't know I was playing a Grandmaster until afterwards. This was game in 30, I think, was the time control. It might have been game in 15. And as I said, I didn't know because I hadn't this chess software that USA Today Chess Network was using didn't display the opponent's rating. You had to find out either before or after the game, and so I didn't know that after the game. I had actually played a game around that same time against, I believe it was international master Tim Taylor, and I had gotten a good position out of the opening. In fact, I had won a piece. I had a completely won position, and I managed to squander that win because I just got so nervous that I was maybe going to beat an international master. And I couldn't think straight, and I completely blew the win. He was very apologetic afterwards, but he was also very relieved that I had been such a knucklehead. So I'm sorry to have to admit it, but I was a complete knucklehead in this game too, and it was only because of Mr. Shamkovich's unfortunate blunder did the game turn around. But this game was actually published in Chess Life around the same year, maybe that year, by Larry Evans in his column, sort of as an example of David beats Goliath. At the time, I was about 1800, and he was about 2550. So let's see how the game progressed. It was a French defense. I like to play the French advance. This is all theory. And now I played this interesting move, bishop to d3. I'm actually planning on doing a chess video feature on this opening line. I've used it for years. It's been very successful. I'm almost a little reluctant to actually share it because I've had such good luck with it. At this time, I had just learned this opening. I was still in the process of learning it, so I actually badly misplayed it. So don't let my performance in this game dissuade you from the strength of this line. Hopefully my other video will make up for how badly this one turned out. So anyway, the idea is that white sacrifices his d-pawn in return for accelerated development and some kingside attacking chances. He gets a space advantage from hanging onto this pawn at e5 at all costs. And these themes you'll see in this game. He takes on d4, castle, knight g d7. Now he's coming to g6, so I have to play bishop to f4 now in order to bolster that e5 pawn. That's part of the setup that white attains. So bishop to f4, knight to g. Now the problem with bishop to f4 in this sequence is it leaves the queen side a little weak, and he exploits this with queen to b6 in the b pawn. Now, as I said, I had been learning the opening, and from reading the book, and I forget which book it is now, the book I was reading on the French at the time, the book move was knight to a3, followed by, I guess, knight to b5. I think that the book line was something like knight to a3. He's supposed to play bishop to c5. And then white goes knight to b5, I guess, to do something on d6. I'm not sure. That's the problem. See, I followed this line, And I didn't have a clue as to how to exploit the positions afterwards. I didn't know what the purpose of knight to a3. It looked like a silly move to me, but I made it blindly. And this was one of the things that this game taught me, was that was not... it was rather silly to follow a move blindly. It's best that I do chess that I understand, even if it's not the greatest chess, than to do something silly that I can't follow up with properly. So anyway, he takes off on a3. He didn't play bishop c5. And now I was totally lost, because now I'm out of book. And this move to me looked like a pretty good move. I recaptured, and he's fractured my queenside pawns. So I was beginning to suspect at this point that I was playing a strong player. He's playing the most testing moves against my position. And but as I said, I was still in complete ignorance of who I was playing. He castles. I play rook e1 to keep a firm grip on e5. And then he played a good move. He played f5. Not sure the move is actually as good as I thought it was at the time. I didn't want to take on f6, just on general principles. Well, I'm relinquishing control of e5. I want to keep something on e5. But if I just calculated the variation out, I would have seen that e takes f6, rook takes, bishop takes, rook recaptures, and then knight to e5, double attacking the knight and the rook. So he has to take, bishop takes. And now, after bishop to d7, queen to d3, white actually has something of a reasonable kind of position here. His bishop is much better than black's bishop, and as long as he can maintain this grip on e5, maybe he can follow up with maybe f4. This rook could be in an awkward position. There might be it might be possible to exploit this. Black's is a c2. It's difficult for the queen to come. Well, that's not necessarily so. The queen could probably go by queen to d8 and then to g5. Well, it's hard to see. Anyway, I think in the position black may be a little better due to his material and pawn structure, but white has chances, and this is probably better than the position that I ended up with in the game. So instead of recapturing on f6 en passant after f5, I played rook to b1. And the other trump I have in the position is the exposed position of the queen. He should really probably go back to c7 or d8 here, but it's a c5. Not sure. Maybe he's planning on go to e7. Oh, he's looking at the a3 pawn, of course, yeah. So here was the beginning of a bad plan for me. I played h4, which really would have been much more effective had a black pawn be sitting on f5. As it is, the influence of my bishop on d3 is severely blunted by this pawn. And so to continue with a stereotypical attack by marching the h-pawn up the board is really doomed to failure, and he pretty much swatted away my attack as if I was an annoying mosquito, as you would expect somebody to do with that rating differential. Knight g to e7, bishop to f4, queen takes a3, he had another pawn, and here, I don't know why I played, this is yet another bad move from me. I decided that he was taking too many of my pawns and I better hang on to them. So I moved rook to a1, but it's such a groveling move. Anything more active would have been better. Perhaps bishop to c1 would have been better. But I didn't play that. So he played b6 to active his remaining piece. And a rather pathetic attack, h5. Bishop to a6. He wants to exchange off pieces. And now, I didn't want to, I could have just taken the bishop right there, I suppose. Maybe I was hoping he would change his mind. But I thought I would move his bishop, his queen first, so that I could recapture with the queen on d3 after he took bishop takes bishop and not exchange queens, if that makes any sense. So I dislodged his queen first, queen to a4. And then I played the brilliant h6, which is pretty much the end of my attack. First of all, he exchanges on d3, recaptured the queen, and now he plays g6 and all my dreams of glory come crashing to the ground with a sickening thud, as they have so many times before. So, anyway, what to do now? The only positional trump I have is, again, the awkward placement of his queen. So, anyway, I tried to do something about that. I moved the bishop to d2 to control some squares and to free up the back rank for the rooks, and place queen to c4. And I would be a fool indeed to exchange on c4. He would recapture, straighten out his pawns, basically solve all his problems in the game, and have a very favorable, if not completely winning endgame. So I don't want to exchange. Queen to f. He's won yet another pawn, but this pawn proves to be his undoing. Now, I should have given you the opportunity to try and find a move for black here. Pretty much any move, other than the one he played, would be a good move here. For instance, rook f to e8, and that would shore up his one remaining weak spot, which is at pawn. That would be an improvement. Although I do see his queen is in a very tight space. So, but anyway, he didn't hesitate. He made this move rather quickly, and I'm guessing he didn't calculate it. I'm sure that he understood that he was playing a weak player at this point, and or perhaps was overcome with overconfidence. But anyway, white's reply, which is not very difficult to find at all, rook a to c1, that traps black's queen. So the only real move he has is queen to e4. At least he gets a rook for the queen, and a little bit of play with these central pawns. So played actually a good move. The only good move of the game for me. I played knight takes d4. So kind of a mini combination there. And he has to recapture. But I get the knight on e7 since that was tied to his defense. Now I'm threatening mate on g7. He has to move rook to f7, move back to d6. He moves the other rook to defend the he sees he's got a fork on e2. I saw this too, but I wasn't worried about it. He takes his pound of flesh, and now the e-pawn is hanging, so he moves the rook to defend it. But I attack the rook. He doubles up on the f file, but simply queen takes e6, and that rook is pinned, and he can't do anything with it. So he unpins, moves the king, and now it's e3, and I've consolidated my position. And he's got nothing, and this is completely winning for white. The game did not last very long. But rook to the bishop controls the entry squares into the white position. After queen to d5, he resigned, and then then I looked up his rating after the game, and my eyes came out of my sockets on springs because I couldn't believe it was Leonid Shamkovich. His screen name was Leonid, so I had no idea that's who it was. But I learned a couple of things from this game. First of all, everybody screws up. It's not just me, but even grandmasters screw up, and therefore every position is worth calculating as if you're seeing it for the first time. You never know what might be lurking in there. And that also gave me some sort of inspiration in terms of playing stronger players, knowing that they can make these mistakes. I remember reading somewhere that they said that virtually all games are filled with errors, even at the very highest levels of grandmaster chess. And now that computers have been put to the task of figuring out the tactics in these top-level chess games, they find all kinds of errors. So if you can find them, you can find them too. So it also taught me that to really not respect the rating of my opponent. But of course, in my case, I was aided by my actual ignorance of his rating. Perhaps if I had known, I would have been much more nervous, like I was against Timothy Taylor. And the other thing I learned from this game was not to play book moves blindly without understanding the resulting positions. Anyway, I hope you found this game amusing and perhaps inspirational in an odd sort of way. And I'll look forward to doing the video on this line of the French, which is really a great line, despite my horrible play with it in this game. All right, take care. Thanks for listening, and let me know if you have any suggestions or criticisms. Bye.